私は普通の男ではありません。私はもう本性の愛です。私にからかわないでください。そうしないとあなたは消えてしまいます。私は普通の男です。でも私はあなたを殺します。だからそのまま受け取ってください。足元に注意した方がいいよ。準備をしてください。フォローしないと大変なことになりますよ。私に伝わらない私はあなたを殺します。私は日本の愛です。あなたは警告されました。
It's weird coming out of that and actually saying hello, but hello. I am here to continue things with my man, Gray. I don't know why I played that first, but it felt weird. But what up, Gray?
Hello, love. How you
Hello, love. And just to let everybody know, because I'm sure that there'll be some talking back and forth, I mean, between us, maybe. But the idea, we are recording this review, this one little segment of this week's podcast, live on YouTube. We usually do an absolute show. There's no absolute books this week, which is very, very odd. But if you do want to get involved with me and Gray talking some live stuff on the YouTubes, you can go to our YouTube channel every Friday at 7:15 usually. We're doing this a little bit later because it's not actually the absolute. Now, me and you talked earlier because we also did a couple Marvel books. Almost went live with those as well, but it would have been weird. I think we did those like early in the day. So it would have ended up being a weird live stream when people were at work or something. But the idea of all of this, I don't even know what I was just going to say. One of the things I was going to say is that...
You're right, Jim.
No, I'm ready to go to bed, is what I... Oh, I know what it was.
I'm ready to go to bed.
I had mentioned to you about, hey, wait, I thought I said something about an Absolute show this week, and you said, no, I don't... I did get verification. Absolute Batman was supposed to come out this week, and then got delayed. It got pushed. So that's why we don't have any books. And boy, that would have been nice. Me and you liked the Absolute Batman, and then we could have had just Absolute Flash next week, but we'll double up.
I've been looking forward to
it. Yeah, so we'll do that next week, but here we are to talk. And again, if anybody's sitting there and they're like, okay, well, they were going to do Absolute Batman, so what big book are they replacing it with? Well, we're doing Supergirl. And there is a reason behind that. It is a book that I usually do each week with Brad. Brad is on vacation. And I ended up asking a bunch of people, hey, do you want to do this? You want to do that? Nobody was doing Supergirl. I only asked Matt, I think. I might have asked Matt and maybe Tom, but I asked you at the same time. You actually got back to me and said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. You ended up reading the last issue. You're not fully caught up, but that's fine. A lot of people will jump on whatever issue, and I'm looking forward to hearing your perspective about what this book is wacky. It's so wacky, right?
It is wacky.
It is wacky. It's wacky zashy. It is.
Wacky races.
I'm telling you, the way that this book goes, it's not a typical superhero book. It's not. Sophie Campbell is writing it a little different, and I think that it's, first off, I do think that it's really a niche thing. And I don't know if 50-year-old guys, I said to you before we started doing this, I said that if I thought that this was relatable, if I thought that this was right up my alley, I think that would be weird. I think that would make me very creepy. So I'm not going to say that, though I do like goth look. So we'll have that. But in the meantime, this ends up being in the vein of, say, the Being Super by Mariko Tamaki. Or even her, I Am Starfire, that people lost their mind about. It's in that kind of vein. And one of the things that each time I have reviewed it with Brad, who me and him have liked it enough, it's just weird. I can't get my finger on it a lot of times. But he said that his kids love it, especially his daughter. Right. His daughter really loves it. And I think that it is more of a young adult girl type thing. I don't want to say girl because that kind of puts it in that weird play, but it is a young adult type book. And I think that it's probably better served by people reading it who may not read a lot of superhero stuff, because the superhero books, you tend to, expect certain things. Not the idea of going to a goth club and hanging out, talking and thinking and talking and
slice
thinking.
Of life, isn't it?
It is.
I mean,
and it
you
is.
see that in a lot of the reviews. Yeah. Slice of life, slice of life.
Yeah. And you know what else is a lot of times, I really like manga that's slice of life. I love slice of life manga. And but when you get the superhero books, when you have a character like Supergirl, it tends to throw me off a bit. But by the end, I think I'm going to have this idea in my head of it didn't do anything that I thought was horrific. It just didn't do anything that I thought was great either. It was slice of life. It was just there. And I think it's one of those books that now you have read 2 issues. I think you have a very solid idea if the book's for you or not. And I'm guessing it isn't. But I'll give you the credits here, and then we'll get into it. It is Supergirl and Misadventures in Midvale. Part 4, it is issue 4. Supergirl, Sophie Campbell, writer, artist, cover artist. Tamara Bonvillain blocked our ass hard. She's on colors. Dave Sharp on letters. We have Jillian Grant as associate editor, Brittany Holzer, senior editor, and that usually spells disaster. It did with certain things like a Power Girl with Leah Williams. Now, this is where I think there's a difference. Power Girl with Leah Williams was complete batshit crazy, right? She comes in, she's changing things as if maybe she didn't even know what was going on. She changed the name, she changed the this and that. And I think there's a difference with Sophie Campbell. I just don't think that Sophie Campbell is doing a great job in presenting things to the reader. I think that she has a better grasp and a better idea about things, because there's a lot of stuff, and Josh in the chat, I think he would bring up, there's a lot of stuff that, kind of references Supergirl stuff in the past, but then doesn't do enough, then pulls back on some things and doesn't really give you the full scope of things now that the timelines open up. So there's a lot of confusing things going on. But in the meantime, you are just jumping on. Did you get any idea that there was a lot of references of things from the past? Did you?
No, I didn't. I'm not that clued up on the character anyway. So yeah, I wasn't sure if these were original characters to Sophie Campbell, or like you say, like long term old characters.
Yeah, and so Les Lar, these are classic characters, Luther, of course. Yeah, and Lena, and there's weird things going on here now.
Lena,
at the end of last issue, you ended up having Lesla and Supergirl, which is odd. If I'm Supergirl and I get called to the bottled city of Kandor and they try to tell me anything, I'm telling them, hey, listen there, bottled city, you can go stuff it. And I just leave. I legit would leave. And also, they have already kicked Superman off from being the envoy. He's not allowed in the bottled city anymore at this point. That's why Kara. And it was kind of a cool little setup so that you have Kara go in, kind of run into Lesla. That led to all of this. But I'm telling you, the Kandor is a bunch of bullcrap in my mind. That all they do is sit around until somebody breaks the bottle or they get out for a little. Then they're just little tears. They go on a tear. They get put back. That's why Superman never cares about them. He puts them back in the bottle. But in the meantime, you set up this deal that, I don't know, you didn't necessarily have to go through all these hoops to get Lesla out, but it was okay. They go back, hey, you're going to have to do community service. Hey, by the way, Leslie, you're going to be in this, thought police jail for 10 years. But what's 10 years for a bottled city, person? I don't know. But there was the play that Lauren at the beginning went crazy. Now, that was never that resolved, which is kind of odd. But Lauren he's a wolf man. He's the Kryptonian wolf man.
Is he?
And when you get to the point where she says, listen, you want it, and it was weird too. They're like, hey, Lauren's going a little crazy. Can you just take him and maybe you could be a sponsor and you could help him out? And she's like, whoa, I don't have time for that. I wish she did. And I wish at this point they still desperately wanted to get rid of Lauren. So they're like, hey, you take Leslar, but Lauren's part of the deal. I would have liked having him involved. It would have been really cool. But she says, I'll take Lesla. I'll teach her what it is to be a hero. Right there, red flag should go up everywhere because that's her problem. she wants to be a hero so desperately that she did it the wrong way. It'd be like, listen, this heroin addict that just got arrested, I'm going to put them under my wing. I'm going to show them how to really do heroin. I want them to do heroin the right way, and let's go, boys. But she takes her out, and I think that when you do see Lesla's parents, they look surprised at one point. I think they're just like, let's get the hell, this is great. We'll get her out of our hands. But it is sad.
Exactly. Take her, Supergirl.
It is sad at one point when you do have Kara kind of thinking about, hey, I don't want to, be mean like her parents, but they never really delve too much into it. But in the meantime, they go out and just go back. And in my mind, I think that you could have had a little bit of problem in the bottled city, have Kara then say, okay, I'll sponsor her and go out. It's weird that she is kind of mind controlled all of Midvale. Now she's being allowed to come out and say, oh, I'm sorry. But in a different cut, these people in Midvale are morons. They've already seen her going around. Now that I'm Luminary, they're like, I've never seen this girl before. It's very odd. But you do get the play. And Lena wanted to be friends with Lesla. Actually almost seemed like maybe she wanted a little romance at one point. I don't know if that was what Sophie Campbell was going for, but it certainly felt like that. But that's dialed back here. It's weird. You don't really even get that in this as they go and stay at, Lena Luthor's apartment or house that she's living in. Now, there's a bit of a side thing in this that I think is odd. You see, when they go into Lena's place, like things aren't even unpacked. She just got there. She ends up living in Midvale. And suddenly, though, she knows everything about it, this goth thing, and then mentions how this one guy that we get to, oh, man, he's like this for months, every weekend. I'm like, how do you know that? This would have been your second. Idea. This would have been her second time ever, I think. But it was very, very odd. But you end up where, again, the dialogue's okay, I guess, right? They're just kind of, it's weird.
Very, what's the word? It's
girly?
Kind of like explaining everthing the whole time.
Yeah, it is. I said girly because it's almost like drama.
And, what's going on. It's very obvious.
Well, I'll bring up the idea, too, that there was, I think Hickman was involved. I think Jonathan Hickman. I think in the talk might have also even been like Robert Kirkman. There was a bunch of heavy hitters at one point talking on social media. And they were talking about thought bubbles. They were saying, oh, man, thought bubbles, that's, something kind of cool. Somebody said that. And the biggest writers of the day, this was a couple years ago, but it seemed like the biggest writers basically said, listen, if you use thought bubbles, you're a hack. Like, nobody uses them. And I think it was some fan just said at one point, why don't they use thought bubbles a lot anymore? And really what it was, and I think it was Jonathan Hickman said, thought bubbles are just a lame way of narrating. They're always going to be, and they're always going to tell you what you're seeing on the panel because you're just thinking what you're doing. And he's right. That's what happens in this, right? It's just over and over of, hey.
I like thought bubbles, though. Do you mind? I kind of miss them. I like the shape. Basically.
Yeah, I like that. I actually like because when me and Stork do our retro review stuff, tons of thought bubbles, and I always love the combo where you have thought bubble that goes into the word bubble. Like, Lois Lane is thinking something and then she says it. But why I like a lot of times thought bubbles is not to explain, I feel hungry, something like that. What I like is somebody will come in, say it's me and you. And I say to you, hey, Gray, what's going on? And then your thought bubble that people would see here on the podcast, your thought bubble is, what an asshole. Why does he keep asking me? And then you go, oh, I'm fine, Jim. That's hilarious. I love when the thought bubble it's a juxtaposition.
That's when they work, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best is when somebody's talking complete shit on somebody in their thought bubble and then acting nice or vice versa. Or at one point, there's an okay bit when Kara ends up seeing that dude. That's okay for a thought bubble. Like, who's that guy? Oh, my God. That's a normal, regular thought deal. But
it works there, doesn't it? But when you've got, Lara, is it Lara? Sorry, what's her name? Lesla. this is a dream come true. I am a superhero at the side of Supergirl. She's like, that's what she's thinking.
Yeah.
It's just
but
really weird.
We would know that. And then she like messes up
I'm
and
also
goes,
a constant failure.
yeah,
It's like,
that's
oh my
what she
God.
says. That's the one I think where,
She's
and
telling us everything.
Sophie Campbell was on an Ask Me Anything, an AMA on Reddit, and people ended up asking her, and she seemed proud to be using these thought bubbles. She actually said, I think it was after the first issue. And people were like, oh man, we haven't seen thought bubbles in a while. And she's like, yeah, I thought it'd be cool. It does give you a classic feel, but not as much because it's too much. When that one page that you're talking about, there's not a stitch of dialogue. It's all thought bubbles, and they're big, and they're too expansive. You end up where, this is a dream come true. I'm a superhero at the side of Supergirl, no less, but... And then Supergirl's thinking, Leslie does seem to genuinely want to help people. I just need to keep her on the straight and narrow. And then they're doing things that seem like they're doing good things. Like they're they have a bus. A bus was in danger. Also, this is Midvale. I live in a small kind of town, right?
Me too.
There's not one day that a bus almost goes off a cliff, a school's on fire, like all these things in one little town. This is like shit that goes on 5 years. Maybe this stuff happens. I would start thinking that Leslie's doing something on the sly and making these things happen because this is bullcrap. But she says, as they're flying the bus, I am also a consistent failure with flawed decision-making skills. This endeavor may end up the same way if I'm not disciplined enough. Who the hell thinks or talks like that? Can you imagine? I'm like, me and Gray are going to record. You know, I am a consistent failure with flawed decision-making skills. Oh, no. Like, it's such a weird thing.
It's too much. It's over the top. It's too much tell, isn't it, Jim?
This is
like tell.
And I know what she's trying to push the idea of Leslie, because, I mean, legit, 3 issues, Leslie was the villain. Now she wants Leslie to be put in the group and redeem herself. So it has to be the idea that I think Sophie Campbell wants to make her the lovable loser. I want to be good, but I always mess up. See, I think Sophie Campbell wants to get behind her and say, come on, Leslie, you can do it. But the weird thing about it is that after somebody just bitches and moans about how bad they are, you kind of get annoyed, right? I mean, she's doing the things. Just show us her doing things. But the idea of her, I'm a consistent failure. Oh, my God. It reminds me when I would play hockey. There was this guy, Matt, that he's our age. He would play on a lot of our teams. And this was one of those guys. You had to have had somebody in any sport where the guy was okay. But anytime he'd mess up, he'd scream, I'm the worst. I'm so terrible. I should. And he wanted somebody to jump in and say, oh, you're pretty cool. Like, you're good. I would never jump in. I would agree with him. Yeah. I'd agree with him. I'm telling you, we'd be on a 2-on-none break, and I'd pass him, and he missed the net. And he's like, I'm terrible. I'm like, yeah, you were. You're pretty bad. But the idea, again,
it's so worded, Jim, isn't it? But
that's what I'm saying.
When she's saying, I hope I don't screw up, or I hope I don't disappoint you. That's all you need to say. But she's got this, you know, 200 words of like saying, oh, blah, blah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my...
It's worse. Supergirl, like, look at her thought.
Oh, my God, these are humongous. She starts
talking about, this must be how Cal felt when I first got here. He suddenly had another superhero to look at. It's like, goes on and on and on.
Yeah. Now, again, I love that. I love Kara and her good heart, because we've talked about this on the podcast with some of the retro stuff, including Supergirl's first appearance. It's
hard to find, Jim.
It is true. And when Supergirl showed up, it definitely felt like Cal was like, yeah, I don't want you to get any spotlight. You're going to be in an orphanage here in Midvale. Because she's like, oh, man, I know how he felt. I'm like, how he felt? He said, you're going to that orphanage and you can't be Supergirl. Sayonara, sucker, and left. Again, it was because she was just making guest appearances, and then eventually she became more and more popular. But it is too much. I mean, without talking even. You have to have a combo. You have to have some talk, a little less. And the thoughts would be, I hope I don't screw this up, like you said. And then have her say, hey, is this okay, Kara? And then Kara's like, man, she's really trying hard. I really do appreciate it. Yes, you are doing good. Like, that should be the combo. It should be a combo of talking and thought bubbles where you do see that she's trying and Kara actually genuinely wants her to do well, but it's too much. So then they just do the stuff, and then they come back and start talking to Lena. And when, Leslie comes in and says, I prevented 34 deaths and performed 59 acts. what is happening in this town?
Altruistic betterment.
This town.
Who talks like that?
Nobody. And this town is bullcrap. Holy moly! And they come in and then
deaths in one day or in like 1 hour.
Now
Jesus.
you do have a lot of kids on the bus. I think that, but in my mind, that almost counts as one. Like I saved a bunch of kids and then some things. But this is what gets me in the scene. She says, I prevented 34 deaths and performed 59 acts of altruistic betterment. I am already a true superhero. And then Kara goes, whoa, don't get ahead of yourself. No, I don't. I think if you actually did that, I think you're a true superhero. I think that if I saved 34 lives in my life, I'd be damn well proud of it. I haven't saved any. I'd probably caused some disaster.
Say, you did a great job today. Well done. Keep it up. That's what she needs to say.
Yeah. Don't get ahead of yourself.
One step at a time.
Yeah. You don't instantly become a hero overnight. Don't let it go to your head. And then you just make her sad. You're right. Yeah, I don't know. It played out.
Of her thick thighs.
Might be. She is definitely jealous of her humps. Is what I'm saying. She ends up when she goes, you're right. It's like, man, I think that this is another thing that happens in some modern comics. It's even not modern comics, but I hate the idea of making one character kind of look like a jerk to make another look better. And I swear Kara looks like a real bitch here, where she's like, hey, don't get ahead of yourself. You ain't no hero like me. And she's like, you're right. I'm like, okay. And then suddenly Lena says, hey, you guys want to go to a goth masquerade party?
Cara? At least she has a little go at, doesn't she?
Yeah, and says, hey, let's go to the masquerade tonight to celebrate. Kara's like, what is that? And she goes, it's Midvale's own local goth club. And Kara goes, oh, you're seriously right here in town? Is it new? Nah, it's been here since the early aughts, I think. You just got here. Like, she should just say this whole deal of, hey, I'm kind of a goth gal, and I heard there was this club. You guys want to go with me? I don't know what it's like. We'll just go. When she gets there, this guy with this crazy fancy name makes me laugh so much, is the idea where she's like, oh, that guy causes trouble every week. I'm like, you've only been here a week. What are you talking about? But they're going to go to the goth club. It's fine. You get fashion show. I always love fashion show. The problem is, again, this, and we said it earlier, not only does it feel like a young adult book, but it does feel a bit like a manga. It has a bit of its progression. Manga, when they do fashion show, they do it right, where you have like 3 or 4 pages where it's just like, nah, that's not good. You have a lot of choices. It's always funny. You get ridiculous stuff. They just dress up as goths and they're going to get going. And Lesla's just like, hey, everybody, my humps. So they go off to this masquerade deal. I'm expecting this to be like vampire shit. The guy that Kara likes, he's got to be a vampire, right? He has to be. That guy has to. I don't know. He has to pop up again.
I like his boots.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the guy looks like a vampire. And so you go in, I'm like, okay, what's it going to be? Well, what you get is handsy dude. And he's like, hey, come on, one more drink with me. And immediately,
his name's Howard as well. Howard, can you just leave me alone?
I like
please?
that it's like that long name. It's like, oh, and then also after we hear the name, then the guy really lays on it like, you were speaking to Howard. We'll find the name. Oh, Howard Pendergrass. It's Teddy's son, Teddy Pendergrass. He's like, I am Howard Pendergrass the third. What? I'm like, nobody cares, dude. But then suddenly you get vampire guy. It's like Angel over here. Look at this dude. I do like his boots, like you said. But in the meantime, Kara's distracted by this guy, but does nothing with it. Lesla goes over and immediately, like out of nowhere, sees this girl being grabbed by the one guy there, and then goes and like is going to break his wrist. Then he gets hateful and says, I don't like hitting girls, but I'm gonna. Then he's like, the best thing, what Sophie Campbell does great in this is the idea that when you have this guy go up to the bar and he's bitching and moaning, I do like that. It's classic guy like that. I was born too late. I should have been born in the Victoria. Like, that is great. This guy's such a dick. But yeah, you end up where this whole play is, you know, the one girl that they get sick, she has, and they're really showing it. I thought like she just had shit coming out of her hair, but
I thought she was stoned, Jim.
yeah, I thought I was by this point. But you do get that she has a little bit of psychic abilities that Lesla ends up seeing, which we see as well. Then old, Pendergrass here, he ends up getting, because Lesla says, I'm going to punch this dude, but I'm afraid of hurting him, so I'm going to use some of the super substance that I smuggled out of Kandor, even though she wasn't supposed to. You're going to get, in my mind, it's very Matrix stuff-esque from the Supergirl Matrix stuff. So you end up having that, but she's like, I'm going to do it. It is only so that he, sniffs some up there, like it's some crazy drug. And he goes nuts, and his emotions take over, and that's what makes him decay, because he is a piece of crap, basically. And then that's the gist. I
quite like the design, the monster.
Yeah,
decay.
It's okay.
It's pretty cool,
I like when he's inside, and then
yeah.
he's now absorbing people, which I think that the art, I like Sophie Campbell's art. I think she could have done a better deal of this absorbing people, because you kind of, and then again, she has to then mention it because she's afraid that people didn't get it, but you should have. And so you have the people, and Leslie's using heat vision. It's not working, but also I love where she's heat visioning the shit out of this, but then says we better not punch anything or care because we might hurt people in. I'm like, she just heat vision.
With your laser eyes.
So,
oh my God.
It becomes the thing of, Kara, you go up and she says, and this is where Leslie can kind of become a bit of the hero, even though she set up the problem with the super substance. But Kara says, listen, think, how can I change this? How can I make this, fix it? And she's like, well, it does react to the emotions. If you have nice emotions and go with that, it will end up where you can kind of control it and stop it. Though in the meantime, you kind of just freeze breath the shit out of it. You know what I mean? Like the weird thing, she does kind of do it for a bit, and they're ripping it apart, but don't really do it. And then they freeze it. And then that's where Kara says, you go and do things. Now I'm really going to go try to affect it. And goes in, it's like, I'm better than this. I'm better. I'm cool. And goes inside. And then it gets tropey. Because what you then get is a not really well done version of Hulk jumping in Godzilla and busting out. And you have it with Hulk a lot, where you get swallowed by a dinosaur and he'll come out of its stomach. That's kind of the deal, that it breaks it because she's Supergirl and she's great. Old Pendergrass comes flying out. He's upset. Everybody's watching. And then you just end up, getting the super substance. You end up putting it in a container like the Ghostbusters. People end up being hurt, and they carry them out. The goth people are hurt, even though it just looks like they need a shower. But they come out, and they're put in the paramedics take them. And then you do have Lesla, who did end up, the real reason that she recognized this girl wasn't necessarily all because of the deal of the guy being mean. She kind of seemed like she wanted to be friends with her anyway. So she goes up and says, hey, I'm Luminary. Are you all right? Yeah, I'm Luna Lustrum. And then that's where, they actually...
Wasn't she in Harry Potter?
Yeah, exactly. Is he Moaning Myrtle? They end up where all you have to do is have an LL name. You're in. They're like, you have an LL name? You're in the group. That's how it is. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I trust this girl. But she ends up having some psychic ability that we'll probably see. Now, in the meantime, I don't know that we need another main character. I don't know that we need another sidekick. There's enough with Lena, Lesla, and Kara, I think, especially with the idea that you're tying into a lot of things in the past, and maybe you're going to leave some people behind, like you. I mean, I would still guess that you're kind of struggling to understand what's going on in a lot of this, because it's not really straightforward a lot of the times. But they go.
It's not, like you say, Jim, it's not written for me, so I guess I'm not the right audience for this.
And then,
I was just curious to see if it was going to be an interesting book, and it's not really.
And the deal is that you have the super substance, and you already had Pendergrass. He went nuts with it. So, okay, we saw it. Cool. It's there. Maybe we use it. No. At the end, you have to have this cat get it. And then like, oh, no. Here we go. Now it'll be, we'll probably, and it says to be continued. Maybe this will be something where we don't get right back to this cat. It'll be a side issue part thing where Streaky has to fight this super substance cat at one point, because Streaky is there. But there's also the bunny as well that Les Lallar has that they showed in one little panel. I wish we would have seen more of them. But this poor little cat. I'm looking too at this masquerade place. Like legit, this is just like a rundown house. Like, do you see on the side? It's like, oh crap, this thing is. I think this thing's condemned. But yeah, it's what it is. It's very odd. It's a very odd book. It's a very odd book for two old men to talk about. It's definitely not for us, but usually these things, lo and behold, are for me. I really like this sort of thing, especially when it's in manga. I love the girl heroes, things like that. It's just this one feels like, it feels a lot of times, especially this issue, is that Sophie Campbell, she sits at her desk and goes, oh, what am I into today? And then just writes something. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I just saw a thing with this goth club. I wish I could have went to a goth club as a kid. I'm going to put it in the issue. Hey, I just read a thing where the super substance was the thing, but I'm going to make it this weird thing with it. It just, that's what it feels like to me. Like very spur of the moment. Let's throw this out there and let's go with it. But it's a weird thing to review or give a score to because, again, it's not really for me, and I recognize that. And I'm not saying that it's not for anybody. There's going to be people who really like this. It's just not my thing. But what would you give it?
Yeah, it's tricky. As I say, there's nothing that wrong with the story. I wasn't really into the way it's written. I said it's very, very explaining what's going on the whole time, with the thoughts and things. It's very wordy, like overwritten. I like the art. Sophie Campbell's art is cool, nice and colourful, but I'm not really sure, Jim. It's very tropey, isn't it? But I guess there is an audience for that, as you say. So I don't know what to give it. It's like it's a straight five out of 10.
I might give it a 5.5. I like the art. 5. I like the art. It's okay. But again,
it's just not for me.
It's just not. And because we're doing it live, Josh has been talking, and Josh says with the LL, I know that the LL it's the trope. That's the joke. But again, it's just like in the comic, while it's the joke of the LLs in Superman's life, it just ends up really feeling ridiculous when you use that in comic kind of wink wink. Hey, she has an LL too. Let's go with it. I'm like, yeah, that's great. And then says the super goo and stuff. Yeah, that's what the Matrix stuff is. But again, this with Lesla and has the cat. That's the thing that when I'm talking to Gray and saying that I think a lot of things could be cool if it was introducing some concepts or things from the past to new readers, but she's doing it in such a weird way that they're not getting the connection. You're not getting the connection of Matrix Supergirl and the super substance containment, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. This super substance is the deal, but you're never going from step A to B to C to actually get people involved and say, oh, that's pretty cool, though I'm not a big fan of the Matrix Supergirl stuff, and I really hated the Convergence version of it. I thought was one of the worst things I read. I think it might have been Keith Giffen, too. I thought it was god-awful, but with all that, I'll give 5.5. If it's for you, go up a couple, letter grades or points. It wasn't a letter grade. What am I saying? But I still think that this one's a little down from the other issues.
There seems to be a lot of people who like it on League of Comic Book Geeks. There's quite a lot of positive reviews. So there's an audience for it, Jim. But you wonder, don't you? I wonder what this is actually selling.
Yeah, I doubt it's. I doubt it's selling very well. I don't think it's doing that. I don't think it would be. And again, it's one of those weird books. It's different. So I think people are going to want to say they like it. Also, it's one of those that besides me and you, I think there's going to be a lot of people who, if they don't like it, they're not reading it, so they're not reviewing it. This isn't a casual book. This isn't like a Green Lantern where you keep reading to wait till it gets good and maybe bitch and moan if it isn't. This is a book that you would read that first issue, and if I don't know anybody who would continue on with this if they didn't like it. It would you'd just drop it. And I think that's where you kind of get more of a positive spin, is because the people who are left like it, and they're the ones reviewing it or talking about it. The other people have already forgotten about it. It's a very forgettable book the way it's set up. And it's a shame. I really do like Supergirl, but I think that this is such a niche thing that a lot of people would just drop it and not even review it. But that is it. That is it for the deal. And I was looking at some of the chat like Josh was talking through the deal, and I apologize for not interacting as much, but this is more for the regular podcast. And I said it would seem weird when it goes on the regular show where we're just talking in the chat. So we figured we'd do this as kind of a fun little thing, but that is it. Thank you for joining me, Gray. Tell everybody
Cheers,
where they can find you.
Find me at Wakizashi's Tea House, where I might do a comic book review in the next few weeks. We'll see how we do.
Yeah, I've been a bit burned out.
Mojo, Jim. We were talking right in the back room. Like,
I'm a bit burned out right now. I have to kind of get my mojo back somehow, but we'll be moving on from this. We have one more book. This is the second to last book. It wasn't even the last book of the podcast, which usually gets the infamous position. That goes to Trinity. That Daughter of Wonder Woman. That's me and Simon talking about that. Not very good. Not very good. It's a very odd book, and a lot of Wonder Woman fans are even throwing up their arms in the air, wondering what the hell is going on. But in this issue, I don't know. Have you even been reading it, Gray? Have you been even keeping up with that? Yeah,
not at all.
It ends up where you can't have a story where you're trying to fix a timeline and then like gleefully do paradoxes and go against everything. It threw all the stakes out. So we'll be talking about that. But you do get some good moments with Steve Trevor in this. But we're going to go on to that right about now. But we'll stay here for a second. We'll end this here live. But
thanks for joining us in the chat. Joshua, Fear Monarch, Edward was here before as well. Good to see you all.
Yeah. We figured that we would do this real quick on the thing since we didn't have an absolute book, but it was kind of like a last second. I didn't see your message right away, so I was doing other things, and then I saw your message. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, because we actually, I said we almost did the unbeknownst to you. I almost was gonna do it on the sly. Even we were gonna do some Marvel stuff the one day, and I was going to put that up live as well, but we ended up doing it later instead of earlier, so I ended up not doing that. I kind of got things set up. I wanted to check out. I wanted to test. I should have done it with this, where we go through it and I could have the comic up as I'm paging through it. But I get weird. I kind of hope that like you could get a strike for that. I think, just having. I don't want to be one of those where you have.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah, I hate that though.
You
know what I mean? I don't mind that. I hate those channels that they just have the comic and it flips through the comic so you can read it. Like that's kind of bullshit. And they have like weird
more views than me.
I know.
Me and you though, Jim.
It's the worst. And I'm like sitting there. I'm like, maybe we should do that. But that is it. That is it for us doing this little impromptu
thumbnail, by the way. It's really
you like
cool.
That with the things.
The cover's good, isn't it? It's a good cover. It's something that might draw you into the book. But for me, as again, maybe just not the right audience for it. But it just did not appeal. It did not pull me in.
Yeah. Josh said that he's talking about the whole Trinity book.
Do you like Trinity?
It was good. Yeah. This issue was okay at the end. It was my favorite issue of the series. I gave it a 4. So that shows you. I think I gave the couple other issues 2s and 3s.
Also, Jim Fairmont was saying earlier on, he's like, you should have done Superman, the Kryptonite Spectrum. You should have done that. Have you done that with anybody? Have you reviewed it?
Yeah, I'm doing it tomorrow. That's on the Patreon Spotlight.
Cool. Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why I said at the beginning, we didn't pick Supergirl to do it. We were doing Supergirl for the podcast and decided to do it live. This is just a secondary thing. But the Superman Kryptonite deal, that's a Patreon only. So we couldn't do that on the YouTube anyway. That is exclusive. So you have to be on the Patreon. But we'll get out of here. What are the companies going to do? Not send you news blurbs anymore. That's what they're doing. I told the guy to stuff it. Because he was just sending me the deal, so I don't get that either. It is funny that he did just like, and then his comment was like something, and then I think I did tell you, like he said, thanks for the information and update, Jim. And I said, fuck you, Clark. And then that was it. I haven't heard from him yet. That's the PR guy. He's a dick. He's a dickhead. So with that though, that is it for us. So we'll get out of here. We can play a song or something like that. Jim? We can play a song there. We already played your song, so I might end up playing a Sus Records a country song that I played a little for you. We could get out of here.
Any Sus songs about thick thighs?
Well, I do have a thing about a guy spanking his monkey. Is that okay? There's not a monkey
Yeah.
in this, but there's monkeys in like both Speed Racer and in Space Ghost, so I could do that. We could do that. It's a very quick song. It's He Spanks His Monkey. It's kind of some people were saying they thought it sounded a lot like Austin Powers type deal. I didn't think that. It has a very like 80s, late 80s beat, like rap beat. But we'll play that. We'll get out of here. And after this is done, then we'll get out. But thanks, everybody. If you're listening later, this was just something we just threw together at the last second. So there you go. We talk Supergirl, and we'll go off. This will be on the regular podcast. If you didn't ever know or listen or whatnot, we have a show each and every week. This is, I believe, episode 602. And that is also the 602nd week in a row that we've done.
Wow.
Never missed one week.
Unbelievable.
We've never missed a week. So with that, we'll get out of here. Thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
I call my baby Friday night at 10. Said come on over, but he stays home again. He says he's busy, that he's tied up real tight. He's spanking his monkey every single night. He's spanking his monkey right now, I bet, because that monkey is his favorite pet. He spanks his monkey every night and day. He never wants to put his monkey away. He spanks his monkey, when will he see? He should stop spanking his monkey and start playing with me. Oh, play with me. I bought some new shoes and a brand new dress, but he'd rather deal with his monkey's mess. He never ever looks over at me, 'cause he prefers his monkey's company. I show up knocking at his front door. He's spanking his monkey, he don't answer no more. He spanks his monkey every night and day. He never wants to put his monkey away. He spanks his monkey, when will he see? He should stop spanking his monkey and start playing with me. Oh, play with me. He spanks that monkey, believe me, honey. He spanks that monkey like it owes him money. He spanks that monkey, believe me, honey. He spanks that monkey like it owes him money. He spanks his monkey